Our goal in this assignment is to make a photo editable in Illustrator so that you can change its colors and possibly change some of the shapes. And in order to do that, we have to use a feature of the program called Live Trace. To begin, you need to find a photo to work from. And in this case, I've chosen to work with a photo of a zebra. Anything you want. It could be a flower, an object, an animal. Just find an image you're interested in working on. Once you have it open, right-click, and you can simply copy that image. And then you can jump into Illustrator. Now you can see I've opened the Illustrator program up here. Start a new file, either File New or Command N. And let's use our standard size of 11 by 8.5 or 8.5 by 11. Either way, portrait or landscape, inches. And again, RGB is always our color mode. Click OK. Now that I have my file open, I can simply paste the image that I copied from the internet, and paste is Command V, or you could have also gone to Edit, Paste, and again, Command V. All right, my image is way too big for my artboard. So I could select it, go to a corner, grab a handle, and resize. That's a bit tedious, it's not as effective. So what I want you to do is simply open it, and whether it's too large for your artboard, which is seen here with the black outline, or it might be too small for the artboard. Either way, click on the image to select it, and then look up top at this toolbar. You'll see dimensions, that is your width and your height. You can simply type in the dimensions you want. Now you want your image to fill that artboard, so the width of my artboard is wider than the height. So I'm going to use the 11-inch measurement for width, and for height I will do 8.5 or 8.5. Now, I've made my image the size of my artboard. To actually get it aligned with the artboard, I could click and drag it up and line it up. It's not that big of a deal. However, there's also an alignment feature up here and the toolbar. So if you make sure you select Align to Artboard, and then you can see the different alignments here. I just want to align left to right and top to bottom. So that means I want to align horizontally and align vertically, and now it puts it exactly in place. Now I have my image ready to work with. So first thing, once you have your image sized to fit your artboard, you will want to zoom out. Command minus on the Mac, Control minus if you're on your PC or laptop. And what's going to happen is you're going to zoom out enough so you can fit 3 of these artboards side by side. In order to do that, you need to open your artboard panel, which can be found under Window. Window, Artboards. So now we have a panel. It shows there's one artboard. We see it right here with a zebra on it. And maybe I will zoom out just a little bit more temporarily. So I'm going to have 3 artboards side by side and one version of this zebra photo up on top just as reference. It's outside of the artboard, so if I ever was to print, that image would not show up, but it will be good as reference as I start editing the photos in the artboards. So first thing, let me just copy and paste. This is not a new artboard. This is just a copy of the original so that I can look at it as reference or use it to replace one in an artboard in case something gets messed up. Now, I want to duplicate my existing artboard 2 times. In the top corner of the artboard panel, I'm just going to go to Duplicate. And it's exactly the same as the first. It brings that image to the new one. If I simply go to New Artboard, it gives me a blank, and that's not what I want, because that will require me to then go back, copy and paste and place it into the artboard. Can you do it? Yes, it's just not as efficient. So you'd simply go to duplicate, duplicate it twice, and you would end up with 3 artboards side by side, plus this original that we're leaving outside the artboards to refer back to. The next step in getting set up to work on these photos is to also open your color wheel. Everyone has created a color wheel at this point. So I've opened my file with color wheel, and I'm going to also need to open my layers panel. So if your layers panel is not already open, go to Window, Layers. And you want to, if you still have the black lines, the pie shapes that we created to start with to guide the placement, just shut those off. Make sure you just shut those layers off, lock them, and simply keep open or visible the group that has the shapes and colors of the actual wheel. What this does is it allows you to simply select your color wheel and move it. To move it, you're going to click on the tab for your color wheel file and drag it down. And once it's down far enough so that you can see your live trace file, you can now simply click the color wheel and drag it over, and it is now placed into the new assignment. And you no longer need to have your color wheel open. You can simply close it. We still have our layers open, we have our artboard open, and we have our color wheel, an original photo, and then 3 photos on 3 separate artboards. To move forward in this assignment, you will need to choose a pair of complementary colors to work with. So, a complementary color, as we should all know by now, are 2 colors. They're opposite of each other in the color wheel. So, if you chose blue, directly opposite would be the orange. If you chose red, directly opposite would be the green. Now, along with the green and the red, you also have a shade and a tint. As a matter of fact, you have that for every color you have in the color wheel. So, pick your set of colors. If it's blue and orange, you can use all the tints and shades of your blue and orange. If these 6 are not enough, you can certainly develop a monochromatic scale for orange and a monochromatic scale for blue and use the more elaborated selection of tints and shades. But if you're using blue, green should not appear in your recolored photo. So pick whichever pair of complementary colors you want to use, and then develop your tints and shades for those colors.